All right, man, we're live. I'm going to introduce myself to the audience, and then we'll get you in. So my name's Chris. I'm with Audio Discovery, and today we have an artist spotlight on my buddy Bobby Kane. Bobby Kane is a multi-instrumentalist, and you're from New York, right?
I'm originally from New York, but right now I'm living in Massachusetts.
Oh, there you go. Well, very cool. And one of the things that I was really inspired by in going through your YouTube channel, which I'll link in the description box, is you had a cover of "Turn the Page" that you did at a venue, which I was like, wow, man, you got some pipes.
Oh, dude.
It's very soulful. It was really cool.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So I was going on this tirade of creativity that I haven't released yet because I keep shooting videos and I keep tripping up over certain things that I keep wanting to say, and the words spill out of my face faster than I can organize them. So trying to sort of like get that. But I think that this would be a really good time because you have a cover that's going to be released in the next few days. And tell me a little bit about the creative process in adapting an original song, or I'm sorry, a song that was already sort of incepted, and then sort of how you took your own approach to put your own thumbprint on it.
Yeah, well, certainly. When I originally started trying to do the cover, I kind of wanted to do almost a note for note identical rendition of it because I grew up with this feeling inside me that if I don't put across the song in a way that honors the artist, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
So I started trying to do it that way, and I realized that I'm not Billy Idol,
Sure.
and my process is always going to be different. Like the music that I do is different from his, but he had inspired me. So what I did was I just completely took it apart, and I went at it from a standpoint of what would I do if I wrote this song.
Okay.
So I deleted so much stuff that I had already done,
Right.
and I went back and I looked at, like, I went on Wikipedia and I went, tell me something about this song, and I found out what sparked the song. They were drinking a bottle of Rebel Yell. He was there with like Keith Richards and a whole bunch of other people, and they're just passing around this bottle of cheap bourbon,
Right.
of which
You have some.
this is the empty bottle. I actually got another bottle from family for Christmas, but yeah, it sparked something in me. What would I do if I'm sitting around with my friends and we're just jamming out and we wanted to write this song? And so I went at it from my internal compass, my internal point of view, and I wanted it darker. I wanted it heavier, and I wanted it to feel like me saying, thank you, but what about this?
Cool. Yeah, that's bold. I mean, it's really interesting because I feel like when like an artist looks at another artist, and this was kind of part of what I wanted to talk about when it comes to creativity, is that everybody has sort of what they come to the table with.
Yeah.
And and when you look at obviously Rebel Yell, it's one of my favorite. I think it is my favorite Billy Idol track, actually.
Yeah.
And there's kind of the Rebel Yell aspect of it, and the way that I think he actually, I think, vocally conceptualizes it, because it's got like kind of a feral nature to it,
Yes. Yes.
and which is the whole premise of Rebel Yell, right? From what I understand. But my thought is that, like, when you're coming from another side of you're kind of coming from this other angle with it, right? Where you're sort of taking it in like a much sort of more smoldering, not necessarily the feral, but like there's something that's just like way deeper, way, what were you using to sort of like get yourself, to kind of pull that out of you?
experience. Experience.
Okay.
I took my experience growing up being the shy kid that got really lucky in a lot of aspects, but still grew up with pretty much nothing. And I said, give me the words. Put the music aside. Give me the words.
Mm-hmm.
And let me think on those in terms of my own life, my own experience. How would I feel with these words coming out of me? What would spark these words to come out of me? And I kind of drew from that.
Right.
I've never had an experience of a dancer coming and knocking on my door saying, "Hey,
Right.
let's do this." But
Yeah.
I've had relationships that have worked and have not worked.
Right. Right.
I know what that feels like.
Yeah. Yeah. What when you pull from the experiences, not necessarily of like the emotional experiences, but when you're starting to pull from like the musical experiences, how do you what's like the first thing, you've got the lyrics. Now what's the first thing that you start to do in order to incorporate the emotions, and then incorporate, and use the little snippets of the things that you've sort of played over the time? Like, how do you pull those together?
Well, when I'm putting it together, and I love that question because I had to sit here and think of it while you were talking about it, and I'm like, I didn't even realize I did that. But I pull everything out except for the absolute basics. So, being mostly a guitar player, I start with guitar, and I take all the rhythm away, and I just play the chords. And once I play the chords, like I hear how the chords fit together, I know what the words are. My body does what it wants to.
Right
and
on.
that's where the rhythm comes from.
Nice.
So like you were saying, having all those experiences with playing all sorts of different bands and stuff, I had that too. I was really, really lucky. Like I never studied music. I never took a guitar lesson ever. And I've always wanted to. I never took piano lessons. I always wanted to. My parents kind of sucked. They're like, yeah, well, if you had done this better, we probably would have gotten it for you. And I'm like,
Oh man.
oh, okay, well,
Right.
that sucks. But
Right.
but I did in high school take trombone for my freshman year, and then the sophomore, junior, and senior year, I did trombone, baritone, horn, and tuba. So I had the bass clef thing going down there, so I had a little bit of music theory,
Right.
but I took that and kind of worked it into everything else. So,
Yeah.
so the rhythm comes naturally from the body, the chords go together, but then I go, well, these are his chords. What would I play?
Right.
And like when I
Yeah.
first started playing guitar out, I played at my parents' church, and the minister of music there, she took me under her wing and said, well, I'm going to take you to this place called Showman's Cafe. Showman's Cafe is in the middle of Harlem, right next to the Apollo Theater. All the old jazz
wow.
cats used to go there and just like hang out and jam out after they left the theater or before they went in there. And I'm like,
Oh my God, what a trial by fire.
dude, I went there thinking I was just going to hang out and watch.
Right.
I came straight from the church. I had the guitar. She made me bring it in.
Yeah.
And I sat down with these jazz cats and I was barely able to keep up.
Sure.
And that's where I want to be. If I'm playing
Right.
with people, like
Yeah.
I'm cool with playing with people on my level, and I'm cool with helping to bring people up. But for my own satisfaction, if my level is here, I want to play with the folks here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Did you get a chance to play often there? Like, was that kind of a regular thing?
I wish it had been. I got the chance to play there a couple of times, which I thought was just absolutely fantastic. It was so much fun. But yeah, those are the big time guys. they're
Right.
the big time guys. And I was just this little kid. I think the first time I was there, I was 13.
Okay.
And I had gone back there to see shows
Sure.
for years, like just to get there. The food was great too. Oh my God. but yeah, I'd go back there to see shows, and I think when I was 17, just before I left here, because I moved over to California for a little bit. I didn't tell anybody. I just picked up and left.
Right.
And I went back there, and I got to play with a guy whose name was Jimmy Preacher Robbins.
Okay.
he worked with a guy named Louis Jordan, who, you know, a lot of people might know that name, but might not, you know, associate it with anything. But if you ever watch the Tom and Jerry cartoons and you heard
Okay.
that song, Is You Is or Is You Ain't My Baby,
Okay.
which I love that song. I actually do a cover of that song. Yeah, that's Louis Jordan. So these guys used to work together way back in the day. And Jimmy Preacher Robbins says, you know, I know you know Janice. I've seen you, you know, at the church.
Yeah.
Get your guitar, get over here. I'm like, okay. Okay. And we sat down, and he plays everything in G.
Okay.
Like, he's one of those guys, like, he never learned anything. He just sat down and picked it out. So he plays everything in the G minor, but you would never know because he's so good at it.
Right. Yeah.
And we were just knocking out blues tune after blues tune after blues tune, and he came up with this really crazy, like, jazzy tune with, like, all sorts of crazy changes. And then I caught on to it, and I'm like, well, he does everything in G. So I just kind of just did some little noodling behind him in G, and he looked at me and went, I had no idea what I was doing, but it worked.
Right.
know?
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. Well, you know, and I think that kind of goes, you know, when we're talking about creativity, and, you know, it's like you take what resonates the most with you, you know, otherwise you're faking it, you know, like, true or false, that experience essentially informed you for a lot of other experiences from that point, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Oh,
Nice.
yeah. See, and I love the idea, you know, like doing collaborations and such, and I'm really cool with being drawn into the moment. You know, like if I'm hanging out with other musicians and we just do a little jam or something like that, that's a beautiful thing, and I love it. I love the way that feels. But I also get really scared with collaborations because, you know, like I said, I grew up the super shy kid, and you know, to self-taught 99.9%.
Yeah.
You know. So I always worry, like, you know, people say, hey, yeah, you know, we could do a collaboration on something, and I'm all for it. I'm like, yes, let's do this. And then they're like, okay, yeah, we'll get some stuff together. And then I go back and I go, but what if I screw it up? What if I mess up their work? And I miss out on so many things. I'm trying to move away from that now. Yeah. But, you know, it's tough.
Yeah, it is. That's a really good, you know, because I think, like I said, I think that I had an experience. It reminds me of this experience. I have a friend who graduated from Berkeley, from College of Music, and she's super inviting. I knew her from a non-musical experience. So, you know, when I heard, like, you know, she was like, yeah, Berkeley grad, she's teaching music, and I was just like, you know, oh my God, like, you know, anybody who's got any kind of like music education, because I grew up around self-taught people, and I knew some dudes who could wail, and they're super good, super intuitive, learned the theory, learned the stuff, but weren't necessarily like graduates of, you know, so like anybody who had like that tie in, you know, to music in that way, I was just like all about it. Like, I want to pick your brain. I want to know what you think. I want to know, like, what is it like? What is music school like? Because I was intimidated from, you know, from going to a music school, because, you know, from a metal standpoint, you know, and a lot of the punk kind of ethos, there's a lot of like, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to, you know, like, I don't want something to impose on my creativity, which is what informs me about all these, these comments that I make now about creativity and music theory and concepts and stuff like that, because the music theory that I know, that I've learned over time, has never encroached on my creativity. It's actually informed it in a more useful way, and I think that has a lot to do with my attitude about it, you know. And so I'm just sort of like, okay, well, so I have this friend, and she's like come over for Friendsgiving and bring your bass. And I'm like, okay. So she had a bunch of Berkeley grads all at her spot. We have dinner, and then we go into, you know, to this room, and it's about 5 other dudes, you know, and I'm there with my bass, and I don't know shit from Shinola. I have not one, you know, and someone's like, all right, who's going to start it off? And so, because I'm an idiot, I just like, all right, let's, so, cause it was majority, there was like it might have been a keyboardist there, but there was mostly guitar players, one other bass player, and me. And I was like, the only thing that I can do is I can set up a groove and let everybody else cook. Nice. And so that's what I did. I just like, all right, you know, and I just sort of like, you know, set up a, you know, and the Warwick that I played at the time had no fret markers in front. So I had to kind of like, you know, they had to figure it out and then go from there. And so I'm playing, and, you know, all of a sudden people are starting to resonate with it. And that's what really informed me about, nice. Or that gave me confidence in terms of, it's not necessarily like, because nobody asked me what my schooling was. Nobody asked me, like, it's just whatever you show up to at this moment is where you are.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting, and it really did inform me of being able to say, like, if I'm going to collaborate with someone, you know, at least let me throw in, and then it can, you know, like, it, as long as you're listening into like what someone's doing or whatever, like, they'll, you know, these are all guys that are just like, you know, one of the guitar players was, you know, because I was super into like Jocko, and, you know, I was learning all the stuff, whatever. He's like, oh yeah, we had a class on Jocko, and he just starts ripping through Donna Lee.
Wow.
And I'm like, At the time I knew that line. I knew the whole thing, but he just had it in a way that was like, you know, he knew all the changes that were happening. That, you know, right. That I think it was Charlie Parker, and who was the trumpet player on that? Forget. So
yeah.
But, you know, that first, you know, but what I saw was he was basically like, he had all this like this knowledge or whatever, but we were still talking about the same thing, the same dude, the same Jocko, the same, you know, like all of that. That was all what we were connecting with, and we got there from different paths, but we still connected. And I think that was really important.
That is really cool. See. And I love stories like that, and I love the way that feels when you get into situations like that, you know. And like, I tend to do the Friendsgiving thing here as well, because I know what it's like to have, you know, nowhere to go to, you know.
Right.
Unfortunately, we couldn't do it this year with the Rona.
Yeah, of course.
But for my birthdays, you usually have a nice little party and a jam session. So
right on.
You know, and I tell people, hey, bring your instruments. If you don't have them, I got a djembe in there, keyboards in the dining room. That's where my guitars are hanging. I got a bass right here up in this wall. You know, dude, just got this together.
Yeah.
Just put new strings on it. So
this is
gonna
awesome.
be fun.
What's it tuned to?
Well, this one isn't tuned to anything yet. I was just putting strings on it, but I'm gonna do it standard guitar tuning, but I'm gonna put the A as the top, or as the low string, and then see what comes out of it. I want to experiment with it.
Yeah, nice.
I love experimenting with stuff, but you know, if you're into the weird stuff, dude.
Right.
I mean, I got weird.
Wow.
This is also about
so
to get
is that a harp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a horse harp. This is about to get tuned too, because I was doing something a little strange with it. Well, that sounds wrong.
Hey man, to each their own.
No, I was doing some, like, you know, ambient sounds, like some, you know, dark, eerie type stuff. So it's like, you know, it's not tuned, but I wanted that eerie sound.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm like, music speaks. You know, we all know that cliche, but the geek in me tends to say, you know, like, music is like the Force. You know, it surrounds us, it penetrates us, it binds us together. It's true, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so true.
Well, I mean, it's funny, when I was a kid, I used to, I would would classify people. It was prejudice for sure. But it was based on, it was based on your musical tastes. So if you were listening to like the pop stuff, then I was like, but if you were listening to like rock or metal, like, yeah, man, I'm into Guns N' Roses. Like, yeah, you're my type. You know what I mean? And so, what the funny part about it is that, it's the reliance of music to sort of, to see what, to kind of see like, who's who,
Yeah.
and I feel like, with, what I've been able to, kind of, because I've been able to listen to a lot of different types of music now, I'm able to make that same kind of like, oh man, you're into this, oh that's cool, I like that, and and I'm sort of able to pull from people's the real weird esoteric stuff. But even now, if someone's into pop, I'm like, cool, what do you like about it?
Yeah.
I want to know that. I want to be on that train.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. There's learning to be done everywhere.
For sure.
Especially with music. I mean, in life in general, but yeah, I was pretty much the same, because I grew up, my parents always listened to, the old school R&B and blues and stuff. And some of it I was like, yeah, I get it. And then I heard my first rock record and I'm like, that resonates with me.
Yeah.
I feel this.
Right.
And I moved through the rock, I metal as well. I was in a metal band back when I was, I think maybe like 12, 13. We sucked.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
We didn't think so, but we sucked.
Of course. Well, of course. Always.
But yeah, I listen to everything. I listen to big band. I listen to, I'm not a huge country fan, but I listen to country.
Right.
Hip hop is hit or miss with me. I'm not into the gangster rap. If you've got a story to tell, I'm all about it. But if you're like, I got money and bitches and hoes, and nope, I don't want to hear it. I want nothing to do with it.
Right.
When you're doing music for music's sake, people know.
Yes.
People definitely know, which is why a lot of it is becoming so transient, because
yes,
there's so many people out there doing it because they want the money, they want the fame, they want the glamour, and they want all of this. So it shows up in their music, it shows up in their performance, or lack thereof, because it may sound great when you listen to the recording, because it's been tuned and it's been gridded and stuff. And then you get them on a live show, and if they don't have a backing track, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're chasing the money and they don't have any real substance to what they're putting out there. And we really need to get away from that. Yeah. I don't care if I ever get rich off of music. If I can do it in such a way as I can take care of myself and my family, that's epic for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do I need a Rolls Royce? No.
Right.
I don't need a mansion. I don't need all that stuff.
Well, what's interesting is there's a video on YouTube that shows it's like, I forget if it's 9 or 19 minutes, but it's essentially, I think it's like 10 minutes, and it says 10 minutes of cringy influencers. And realistically, it's the person who filmed it is in Beverly Hills, it seems like, because that's where a lot of these, and it's just like young people, who with dreams and aspirations. Totally understand it, totally get that. I'm not like, that's not the part. The part is that they're fronting. They're standing in front of these different stores, Gucci stores, Fendi, whatever, so they've got like a bunch of green that they're flashing, all that kind of stuff. And it's when I think of it, it's like, God, man, it's really sad. You don't have to do that. People are looking for actual connection. People are looking for connection so much that they're going through TikTok, they're going through, Instagram. They're looking, like, everybody's looking for connection. So getting back to Rebel Yell, if, say, for instance, you had like a 10-second elevator pitch of like, I did this track, I want someone to listen to it, what would that elevator pitch be?
Wow. Okay. Well, I decided to take a song that actually resonated with me and allow it to show what it could bring out of me. And the only
That's
reason I
awesome.
really wanted to do it was to say thank you to the person who originally created it, not to get anything out of them, just to say thank you, because I don't think enough people do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool. I think the one of the coolest things about about performers that have a little bit more of like a humble approach to what they do is that I think that the introspective aspects of what they do come out. I have a tendency towards extroversion. I like being out. I like meeting people. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
cool. But I do appreciate when I hear someone who is introspective and they have something to say. It's very, very good practice to listen to someone like that because they've given a lot of thought behind they what they feel and what they think.
Yep. And those are the musicians and writers that I resonate with most.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
why I can do things like I'll listen to a Metallica piece and go directly into an Anita Baker song.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, it's the emotional aspect. I've never been a virtuosic player, and I don't think I'll ever be a virtuoso because the technical aspect of the music, while it's useful,
Yes.
doesn't sit with me as much as the emotional connection, which is why I got into music anyway,
Right.
because it allowed me to not feel alone. And if I can do that for, let's say I'm in a room full of people, and if I can do that for one person in the room, it's worth doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And honestly, like I got that when I saw the performance. That was really impressive. And
Thank you.
I'm like, because I've posted it a few times. It's like, hey, look at, and apologies for putting you on the spot in that sense, but that's the reason why is because I was like, oh my god, like, dude, you got to see like this is genuinely good, and I love that. I love that there's that you'll have that. That you'll have that experience where someone is singing something they're connecting with.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
So I'm really excited. My I wanted to offer people who would watch my channel, which I essentially have sort of like sort of gone into. I have a few videos that are guitar oriented, a few videos that are cakewalk oriented, but the channel itself is supposed to be sort of all encompassing. I want to have a bunch of different conversations with a bunch of different, about a bunch of different things.
Nice.
And so thank you for, coming on my channel and sort of being my inaugural artist spotlight, audio discovery of Bobby Kane.
Oh, dude. Wow.
Yeah, dig your stuff.
Gladly. You are awesome, bro. Seriously. So
Well, appreciate that, man. Thank you.
No, it's cool. I'm glad to do this because I was watching some of the guitar work that you were doing on your channel and going, all right, damn it, now I got to learn how to do that. And it's really cool, man.
Yeah, that stuff is just, it's the thing I think that you connect with the same is like when you love something so much, you want to connect with it. So,
yeah.
I think that's where you and I share, that's our link, that's our bond.
Nice. Definitely. That, and we'll have to do some wine tasting.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I can't wait. I gotta save a few of the bottles because I go through the bottles that we get. It's tasty stuff. So you just end up like, man, this is really good. Wow, I'm seeing stars.
Nice.
But it's super good. I'll have to sort of stock it away so that when we do end up meeting face to face, we can share.
Dude, that'd be great.
Bottles. So, Bobby Kane, thank you so much. This has been Artist Spotlight on Bobby Kane, and I can't wait for Rebel Yell to come out and sit and I'll have some red and just listen along.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a great way to start off the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, take care. We'll see each other soon. And
Definitely.
yeah, and that's it.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, sorry for my rambling, and we'll see you soon. All right. Peace.